and signs. We are living in the end of times. Where is the love we once used to know? Where is the kindness we used to show? The heart of man is so full of hate. Let's make a change before it's too late. Too much killing, too much blood spilling. Each and every morning, it's weeping and mourning. We've got to stop all the crimes, erase the violence, let our voice be heard. We can't sit in silence. The hope of tomorrow is in no use today. We've got to live in love. Crime and violence don't pay.
We are back with Cop Chat for another week right here on the Clean Fresh Sound. This morning we are joined in studio by Mr. Saville Rodriguez, who is, did I call that Saville, right? Saville Rodriguez, Chief Prison Officer, Mrs. Asta McDowell, who is a female prison officer, and Geraldo Durant, a senior prison officer. And I guess by their titles, you could guess that we are going to discuss understanding the role and impact of the SVG prison service. So we're talking about some of the people that guard the bad guys, right? Good morning, officers.
Good morning. Good morning.
How are you this morning? All is well?
All is well.
Well, only one person said all is well. He's answering for everybody. I mean, he's the chief, so is that right?
All is well.
All right. Well, welcome to WEFM. If you have not been here before, anybody has been here before?
I have.
Welcome back, and welcome to those of you. You don't need to be nervous. It's always a good conversation here. So let me give you the opportunity to introduce yourselves. Let the listeners know which voice is associated with which name.
McDowell, prison officer. I've been a prison officer for 23 years. I've been a prison officer for 23 years. And that's about it.
All right.
Okay, good morning to everyone. Good morning to you in studio and to all the listeners online today. I am Geraldo Durant, as stated before, senior prison officer. I have been a prison officer for 12 years. I am currently the officer in charge of the reception department within the prison.
All right. Now I'm curious, right? What's the reception department about?
Okay, that department, we deal with all admissions, discharges within the prison. So from the moment someone leaves the court, comes into our custody, the first area that they encounter at the prison would be my department. It would be the last department they encounter as well upon leaving.
All right. What has it been like for you guys working with a prison with prisoners? Sorry, what has that experience been like?
Well, I could tell you definitely it's not a job for the faint of heart. We see prison officers every day, pass them on the street and so on and so forth, and society tends to take what we do for granted, not knowing the risk that we take every day, not knowing all the rigors that we go through. We are employed in a society that is within a society, an entire world within a world. So we operate in our own little dangerous for want of a better word. Yeah, so that's how it is. The typical life of a prison officer is basically danger. That's the best adjective I could come up with.
Anybody else want to share their thoughts?
Well, for me, it's a continuous learning venture. I'm relatively young still, so I haven't seen everything. And one of the first things I learned when I would have just started the service was prison in itself is a university. You know, we would have gone to school, but coming to prison and having that experience, you learn so much. You are encountering persons from different sections of the society. Some might say the good, bad, and the ugly. So for me, as I say, it's a continuous learning venture.
Okay, for me, as being a prison officer, it's a task of being, I should say, multi-talented, because you have persons of different personality you have to deal with, and it's sometimes it's difficult, but you and yourself have to contain yourself and know the way in which you deal with the post people. And it's a task, it's a hard task, but once you love your job, you'll get through it.
Curious question. When it comes to the female prison officers, are they only handled, or, but no was the correct word to use, but by female officers?
Yes, please.
Only, okay.
Female officers.
Okay. And when it comes to the men, is it both sexes?
No. It's not the same for both.
Okay.
Females could work among males. But males generally don't work with females. Actually, it's prohibited by law.
Okay.
For more reasons than one.
Well, I could understand. So in your case, are you mostly with the females?
Yes, I'm at the female prison.
Okay. And what is it like? Because I believe, I want to think that your experience might be a little bit different from theirs. So you could let me know whether or not that might be true.
It's not really different because we have the same procedures, but just mean that I am dealing with females only. So it's not really different.
But do you tend to find that they listen more, they're a little bit more obedient, or they stick to the rules a little better than the men?
Not really.
No? Oh,
Not
wow.
really.
Okay.
Generally, the male prisons is a bit more volatile than the female prisons.
Right.
Females tend to be more subtle creatures and so on and so forth. Plus, the male population is way larger than the female population. So, in terms of ratio, officers to inmates, having control over inmates and so on and so forth, it's much less challenging for the ladies. Not diminishing their task, but generally the female prison seems to be a bit more peaceful environment than the male.
Okay. Here's a question to you. Because you're working at reception, how do you tend to feel when you see either a very young offender or somebody who is back again?
Well, it's never a good feeling to see a young person come into prison. Sometimes we as officer, although we have a mandate to secure, we have to be able to. Sometimes, I don't want to use this word loosely, discretion, but we have to enter into the situation at times. We would try our best to understand the situation and see how best we could assist that young person. With somebody who continuously comes, it's a frustrating feeling because, you know, as officers, you would make efforts to try and curb that habit. But for some reason, we still find persons still repeating into the system. So,
and generally, it's not confined to St. Vincent and Grenadines alone. It seems to be a worldwide trend. Recidivism rates in prisons all over the world. There's no perfect number. All are high. Some more high, some higher than others. What is disheartening, though, in my point of view, is that many of our criminals, quote unquote criminals, are getting younger and younger. If you take a walk through the prison and you see the amount of 18, 19, 20, 20 people in the early mid-20s, 30 at the highest, you will see that we have a serious problem in our society, and a lot of the persons who should be productive members of our society are wasting their lives away right behind bars, incidents and grenades. It's very, very heartbreaking when we see. When I was a child, when you hear about, you say jail, man, it was big men. You know, you cannot picture a 17 or 18-year-old going to prison. Now they make up of a serious percentage of the population, sadly.
Have you, in your time serving, have you ever seen a prisoner who enters the prison and they leave differently or they transform for the better?
Many, but not enough. Many, but not enough. I don't want to say we're fighting a losing battle. If you could save 1 out of 100, it's a job well done. But I think we could do a lot more. But how can you save someone who is not willing to be saved?
Or I suppose when they get out, so society reminds them of what they did and doesn't make it an easier process for them.
Well, that's a two-edged sword, right? Because I dare say, back in the day, coming to prisons used to be something of a, like, you were treated like a leper when you left, right? Which is not a good thing. Now, criminality is being glorified.
It's a badge of honor.
Exactly, exactly. But in the same breath, that's why I said a double-edged sword. Too many times, persons would have left the institution with a skill that they would not have had when they entered. And we will do our best to inculcate some skills in them. And they would leave. And sadly, some of them would find employment, gainful employment. But because of the stigma that goes along with maybe for example, you're running say a supermarket and you employ a gentleman in his 20s and you get to find out by someone coming and whispering to you he was in jail for theft. You would not feel comfortable as a proprietor of a business knowing that you have someone in your employ who has done time for theft. But at the same time, everyone deserves a chance to redeem themselves. And we're not giving these people a fair shot at it.
Yeah. All right. What are some of the rehabilitation type of activities that you have?
We have several. Not enough. We have what we call prison industries. That would consist of things like baking, because we run our own bakery for years. We supply bread to the hospital and so on and so forth. So when, God forbid, you go to the hospital tomorrow and you can't get your homemade bread, it will come from the prisons.
Okay.
Right? We have a vibrant carpentry program. We have a vibrant. Well, recently we have developed a farm that's bearing some fruit.
Literally,
metaphorically and literally, yes, figuratively and literally, yes. We had a plumbing program on stream. After COVID, a lot of our programs were affected because we weren't allowing persons to facilitators to come into the prison for obvious reasons. We have a mechanic program. We have a welding fabrication program and so on. We tailoring, yes. They're numerous. There are about 11 programs thereabout, and we're currently in the process of doing our advanced proposal for the upcoming budget, and part of that entire process entails us requiring more resources so that we could have more programs coming on stream. We try on our best at this particular time not to ask for much tangible things, but for things that could go towards the inmate rehabilitation.
Okay.
Yeah, so the prisons offer a vibrant rehabilitation program or programs.
Okay.
Sadly, not enough people embrace it, but it is available.
I think you missed out the basket making, the vetiver.
Yes. And that has been very, very, very successful thanks to Ms. Wani Willett. Yeah, and so on. That has been doing very well.
All right. So with regards to rehabilitation program and the list of services provided under it, how can us as a general public be a part of it, right? Either from the standpoint of providing, let's say, financial support, or even purchasing items, or even outsourcing the skills of these officers. How can the general population be a part of it?
The most tangible, not tangible, the most valuable contribution a citizen could make in our efforts at rehabilitation is your service, in terms of if you have a skill and you're good at teaching that skill, and you could dedicate some of your time, the superintendent of prisons will be more than happy to have a conversation with you, where we set up something. You tell us the amount of inmates, amount of persons you can accommodate, and we will provide you with the necessary accommodation to facilitate such a program. I could give one good example. A retired gentleman by the name of Mr. Cambridge. He used to work at CWSA. Very good plumber. He's now retired. He volunteered of his time for 3 years. 3 years consecutively. He used to come and teach the guys plumbing. He acted as a maintenance man of sorts. So it was a kind of hands-on, practical type of thing, because whenever there's a leaky faucet in the prisons, a busted pipe, he would come and fix it and use that as practical learning for the inmates. And it went a long way. Several of them came out not certified, but at least they could find a job somewhere and put a meal on their table for what it's worth.
Okay. And in terms of the continuance of their education, do they get to do that in prison?
Yes, we have had persons who would have sat CPE and so on and so forth in prisons. Several of them at the Belle Isle Correctional Facility. People like, if my memory serves me right, Mr. Cain, and among others. One Grantley Bramble, who was an ex-inmate there. He used to be a teacher by profession before he was incarcerated. He volunteered of his time when he left the prisons, and he came back and taught maths at Belle Isle. And several persons were fortunate to gain grade 2s and so on and so forth and at CXE.
I think there's probably, because I've never heard of it in the media, but it would be good if something like this could be advertised, or could be a story could be written on it, because I saw something about it happening in Jamaica where some prisoners, they were able to get a degree or something to that effect. So, but who would pay for these subjects though?
It's complimentary. We take charge of that.
Okay.
Yeah, the prisons take charge of that.
Okay.
Do you have the same programs for both males and females? Those programs?
Yes, we have the same program.
Okay. What is your intake rate, if that's the correct way to say it, like for females and for males? And to make it clearer, like, how often do you see males coming into prison versus females coming into prison?
Okay, on a monthly basis, the average intake would be between 35 to 40 per month. Equally, it's similar in terms of discharges, persons leaving the prison. With regards to how it varies between male and females, it's a big difference. More males. Currently, we only house 3 females versus 390 males.
And
So-
there's a reason for that. The reason could very well be either women don't commit crime or women are smart at committing crimes and they don't get caught.
We might plead the fifth on that one.
Wow.
Okay. What is your experience like as the female police officer? Well, for 3 inmates, how is it been for you?
It's normal.
All right.
Procedures normal.
Okay. And what is the age of the oldest person? And I'll tell you what I'm asking after.
23.
The oldest female is 23?
Yes, please.
Oh, well, I can't ask the question again. I was going to ask the question in terms of, well, it would go across both sexes now. In terms of those inmates that have been there for a long period of time, do you find them taking on a role of trying to counsel the younger ones who have come in?
I wish we would have more of that.
Okay.
We have too little of that. As a matter of fact, the bad influence is always easier divulged on someone than good influences. Naturally, so I want to believe. It's easy. The road to destruction is broad, right? We have several persons who would have been there for significant, people who are doing life sentences.
Mm-hmm.
Some of them are good examples, exemplary inmates, and some of them, sadly, the complete opposite. But in terms of mentoring, I can't remember who the sponsor was, but we had developed a mentoring program once where inmates would mentor others and so forth. It fell through. It fell flat because I want to believe inmates are saying, okay, you're a prisoner, I'm a prisoner. There's nothing you could tell me really. We both commit crimes, we're here, and so on and so forth. But there are those few who because of their long period of incarceration, who would have had a certain level of respect developed for them over the years. So you'll find some inmates would look up to them and so on and so forth. But it's not a general trend. We wish we would have more of it. That mentoring role, these 3 people sitting here and our colleagues are being paid for that. Right? That is our role to mentor these people. And sadly, we have not been reaching enough of them. Yeah.
What are the classifications of the prison that you have, and what do they mean?
When you say
You know, in
classification,
terms of remand versus conviction and so.
Mr. Joran should explain that too, right? We'll take all it all.
Okay, so we have remand prisoners, as you stated, and these are persons in custody that have not been convicted by a court of law. So they would have gone to the court, been charged for an offense, some offenses, and they will not get bail. If they do get bail by the court and can't access the bail, we would house them until. So those are remand prisoners. We have remand prisoners from the lower court, which are the magistrate courts, family court, and persons awaiting trial from the high court. We have penal prisoners. These are persons who have been convicted to serve a sentence. We would house them until that sentence is completed.
Let's not forget, we have civil prisoners as well. Civil prisoners are those who would not necessarily have committed a crime, but, for example, someone who is incarcerated for not paying child maintenance, or someone who owes a business house a sum of money. So it's a civil matter, not a criminal matter. It's not a crime to owe someone. right? So, but you will do time for it in lieu of payment. So there are typically three
Right.
categories. You could even put in appellants in that
Appellants,
too.
yes.
Yeah.
Those are persons who would have been sentenced, but they have
Right.
appealed the matters.
Where are they? Sorry, wait. Where are they? These different prisoners usually housed.
Well, really, the law as it stands specifies exactly how we should go about housing these people. But conditions in terms of our infrastructure and so on, it's not really conducive to do it like that. The ideal scenario would be for juveniles to be housed by themselves, force offenders by themselves, and so on. So you won't have any cross contamination. But our facility is not sizable enough for that, and so on. And when you find out, we tried it at Belle Isle, and we're fighting. I hope we're not fighting a losing battle. When Belle Isle was commissioned back in 2012, we had it on target where we had classified. So Belle Isle was set up in such a way that you would be serving time at Belle Isle, but you would be so isolated from because of you being a force offender, for example. I would maybe a repeated offender. We might be friends outside, on the outside. I would be there for a year or two without you even knowing, because the place was set up in such a way. But what happened? Activity and people being enemies with each other and so on. We are at a stage now where we have to be protecting the criminals from the criminals on the inside. So people are all over the place. This morning, today, an inmate will come to you and say he needs to move from his cell because he and Tom or Jerry are enemies. Now, ideally, we shouldn't be tolerating that. You came to do time, you should do time in peace. But then we don't want to have a scenario in our hands where you are given forewarning, and we ignored it, and it escalates, and somebody gets injured or God forbid killed. That would be on our hands. So we find we have a very serious challenge on our hands where we are shuffling inmates like a deck of cards, simply because there are a few elements who don't or can't live in peace with each other. So that's why I said we do initially when I opened my statement. This job is not for the faint of heart.
I was just going to ask, because here in your description, I feel like when you show up by the gate, do you say, "What is today going to bring me?"
Every day.
Every day. Sounds like that could be the situation.
As much as prisons, working in the prison is routine. It's a monotonous thing. It could be monotonous. But the people who are within the environment, although things are set in a routine fashion, okay, they eat at this time, they bathe at this time, they exercise at a particular time, they are locked in at a particular time. The activities that they engage themselves in, you don't have any control over that. So you may what we call the diet line might be going along peacefully where men line up to get their meal. 7 o'clock, you hear, as old people say, way, a fight starts. That depends on how it escalates, it upset people in the home.
Right.
So there is, it's a dynamic, as I said, a volatile environment we work in daily.
All right. So what keeps you returning, though?
For me,
All of you. All of you. Why stay in it? And you stayed in it for 29 years. So
I will give it up in a heartbeat if Mr. Jules Williams could give me a job here and pay me the same salary that I'm getting in the prisons, right?
Oh, you want to join us on morning radio?
Why not?
Okay.
For me, the presence of God, you have to always be wrapped up, covered, everything in God. Because That right now, that is his strength. So that is what would keep me to come every day, and the love of the job.
Okay.
Yes, for me, it's a sense of purpose. I truly believe I can make a difference within the prison system. I would have started and met the system a certain way, and over time, I have contributed, and I believe I still have more to contribute.
Okay. All right. So we are going to open the phone lines now. There are already questions here, but we would open the phone lines now. So the number to call is 457-9997. So the first question somebody's asking on your live, what's the application process to become a prison officer?
Well,
Okay, before you answer that, we have somebody calling in. Okay. All right. Good morning, Bob.
Hi, good morning. You shouldn't have said the name yet. Don't say the name yet. I want to test Rodriguez. Mr. Rodriguez.
Yes, sir.
Hey.
You recognize the voice, Rodriguez?
No, I don't.
Okay. It's Bob.
Hey, Rodriguez. Good morning, man. This is your boy here, man. Officer McDonald. Officer McDonald, I don't think I know you, but I was there with Rodriguez. That's my boy, man. Me, Rodriguez, Moses, and Andrews. Hey, Roger, this is Small Bob, man.
Small Bob.
Remember Big Bob and Small Bob? These two brothers used to work.
Oh, Richland Park, Zero.
Yes, man. Yes, man.
Yes, Ralston.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Long time I've known you.
So how things going with you, man? How things going, man?
Well, I'm good for the time. Any day above grub is a good day, I always say.
All right. Should be touching down soon, man. I'll come by and look for you. Where you at? Central or are you in Leeward?
I'm at Central.
All right, man. I'll pass and look for you, man. I'll bring you something. No worry, man.
You want back your work?
I'm doing much good here, man. Okay. I'm doing good here. I'm in California. I'm still in California, man. I'm doing all right.
You working in jail in California?
No. I'm an security officer here.
Okay. All right. Good to know you from greener pastures, my brother. I'm doing well, man. I'm looking forward to seeing you, man.
Yeah, anytime you if you got your visa and you want to come visit, man, I have an extra room, not to worry.
No, not the USA at all, not right now.
Hey, I don't want to take up much time, man. I just wanted to give you a shout out, man. It's good to see you, man.
Yeah, appreciate that, buddy.
Yes.
All right. All right. Thanks, Bob.
Reggie.
Right, sir.
All right. So we have another call. All right. So somebody. Okay. All right. Dave, good morning. Hello, Dave. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning. You know, I happen to be hearing that this particular program, and I just want to wish those three persons there. First time I think I'm hearing a program like this from the prisons where our male and in particular female are employed. And something was said earlier on, the job in itself is a very risky job. I have given thought to this so many times over and over. How do these people cope? You know, but you have to learn to. Everybody has a job to do and so on. But I just want to big them up and wish them well, because I could understand and appreciate what they have to go through. I mean, thank God. Well, all sort of things happen in different prisons and different jails all over the world. But there are some prisons that are notorious for the inmates they have and the kind of different inmates, especially in the big world, on the international scene, and where there could be mutiny in prison. Over the years, we have had a history of some upheaval and that sort of thing. Because for some people, once they get there, they say, well, that's, they just can't get better. But I want to wish these guys well. I had a friend who used to work in the prisons, and I remember one time I met him on his way to his job at the prison in Kingston there. And he said to me, boy, now I'm coming old, getting close to my retirement, I really want to go home. I've had enough of this because I will leave home all right. From the time I see the prison, I am a different person. My whole, whatever you describe it as, change, his whole spirit change. Why? Because he knows where he's going to. His life is at risk. So you guys always have to be mindful. And I just hope that the authorities will give you that kind of incentives, encourage you and treat you as human beings too, because according to the job you do, sometimes you don't get that kind of respect and so on. So I just called to big you guys up. And I was really pleased with how you express yourselves. Continue to look for inner strength and to serve the Most High, especially in these times. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr.
Thank you, sir.
Roberts.
All right. So I think you were answering a question before we left. What's the application process to become a prison officer?
Oh, yes.
Oh, sorry. There's another call.
Hi, caller. Good morning.
Pleasant good morning, Angel.
Morning.
And good morning, officers.
Good morning.
Good
sir.
morning.
As usual, a great program. And the things I want to commend the officers for is when they describe the type of persons in custody. Because a lot of people will tend to term a prison, because you're in prison, you're a prisoner. They are remand prisoners, civil prisoners, and penal prisoners. So I'm really, really happy for that, really, for that explanation. I can't remember hearing you guys mention about welding in the prison.
Yes, I did. I mentioned
But I know there's a very good program that used to be taking place in the prison. As a matter of fact, one former inmate is doing work outside now as a welder. And if my memory serves me right, when he completed his sentence, the arc welding machine, he was given that, he walked out with that. And he's doing a wonderful job right now. So there's a lot of good things that's happening in the prisons. Yes, and it's not now. It's from way back. I can remember Junior Cattle when he was incarcerated. He gained a lot of subjects in prison. Yeah. So you guys keep up the good work. It's not an easy job, but you gotta give thanks and keep up the good work, folks.
Thank you.
You have a great day, Angels.
All right.
Thank
You too.
you.
Thank you.
All right. I think we could go back to that now. What's the application process?
Well, we have an application form. You just show up at the prisons. You request a form. We give you a form.
Another call.
You'll finish it, just though. Don't worry. Coach, good morning.
Good morning. I have to introduce myself, Coach Mason. My father used to run that prison once already. And question, as someone who wants to, because I only come home once a year. But before I left St. Vincent, when my father was in charge, I used to teach silver and gold jewelry to the prisoners. That was years ago. Is it possible we could set it up around the carnival time?
Indeed, we will be more than happy to have you on board, Mr. Mason. And you have serious roots in the prisons. Your father is arguably one of the best superintendents to have ever graced the chair at His Majesty's prison. So
I was told that.
I think he'd be proud. He would expect that. He would expect that of you.
So the ladies and I could give you my number, or they could give me your number, so we could do some exchange of, correspondence and see what we could do. Okay.
We'd appreciate that, sir. Thanks.
And second one, I have to tell you, the history hasn't gone far because I ended up working in the prison, not as a prison officer, as an engineer. And it's not an easy job, trust me. I tell you, I don't know how you manage there, but out here, you have so many prisoners who just watch you and don't like you for whatever reason. And trust me, you can't even turn your back on them. They will take you down. I've seen in prisons here where people get thrown off banister. Officers get beat up. And I don't know if the laws is the same in St. Vincent. Here, when I signed to go and work, I didn't sign to go and work in the prison. I signed to work for the Alameda County. It just happened that the opening was in the prison, so I had to go. And the one thing they told us when we first went there is that if you get taken as a hostage, they're not coming for you personally. They're coming to clearly have the situation. So you need to be yourself because prisoners going to take away your clothes and make you look like a prisoner. And if you start acting up any kind of way, you might get hurt when they come to do the rescue. I don't know if you have that type of training and all that kind of stuff homely, but prison work is not easy. As you say, it takes someone with some serious moxie to go and work in a prison. I tell you the truth. I never thought I had it until I started working there. Because it's dangerous. It's dangerous. I don't know. Here, the prisoners has, we say 24 hours of nothing to do but to think how to hurt you or to get out. And you have 8 hours to think how to leave that prison when you go to prison. Because I used to say, I'm going to prison for 8 hours and I'm going back home. Because basically when you go into prison, you're basically going to prison for 8 hours and then you go home. Those people had 24 hours of studying. You can't even display your name. You can't have your name. Well, I don't know in St. Vincent how we do. You cannot have your name displayed. You cannot call the person by the name. We used to call them by numbers. We call each other by a number, not by name. Because you don't want that person now start finding out where you live. And if you have to punish them for something, next thing you see them by your door. So I don't know what the procedures there, but if I come to teach, a lot of people know me, so I don't think I could hide my name or anything like that in St. Vincent, but it's not easy. But that's all I'm saying. All right. And we're gonna hook up about that training thing.
We're looking forward.
All right. Thanks, Kojo. All right. So somebody else was trying to call. Maybe you could finish and then there are some other questions here.
Okay, quickly. You drop by the prisons in Kingston. You pick up an application form. We have one formatted. All the requirements are spelled out on the form. You drop off. Well, it requires 5 CXU level subjects, which includes English and mathematics. Police record, clean police record, copy of your birth certificate, certified copy of the birth certificate, proof of your academic qualifications, or if you have a skill, that would be even better for you, and 2 references. And we go through a process of vetting, and once we are recruiting people, we try to pick out the best candidates based on the criteria and your qualifications. You come for an interview and we take it from there.
Okay. All right. So I'm going to 2 different questions, but I'm going to try to find a way to merge them into one in the interest of time. So somebody is asking, what is the toughest part of your job and what do you think you need to make it better? But somebody else is also asking, why did you sit down and consider becoming a prison officer? So you could try to find a way to merge them into 2. But we have a call just before. All right. And then we would use that as a wrap-up question. Hi, caller. Good morning.
Hi. Good morning. Good morning to the gentleman there. Could you tell me, do you know if there's any literacy program that's on at the prison?
Yes, we have literacy programs at the prisons.
Okay.
I'll answer one part of the question and I'll leave the other part for either one of my two colleagues to answer.
Okay.
Right? I'll answer the part about the most difficult.
Okay.
Sadly, the most difficult part of my job does not come from within the prison. It's from outside. And I'm going to tell you why it's from outside. Our biggest threat to security and to keeping the prison secure is the general public. We are overwhelmed by the influx of contraband into the prisons from members of the general public. Yes, persons may have their perceptions and say, yeah, you get these things, there are officers who do it too and this and that. I would not bury my head in the sand as the proverbial ostrich and say, no, we don't have those types of persons among us. But for on a larger scale, the vast majority of things that infiltrate the prison, cell phones, weapons, drugs, alcohol, come from people on the outside. Brief example, right at Belle Isle. Belle Isle sits on, I think, about 52 acres of land, Belle Isle Correctional Facility. There's a perimeter fence, and there's not a single day we patrol that fence, and an area is not people trying to cut through the fence and from the outside, just to introduce contraband into the prisons. Kingston, same thing, over the wall. Just a few nights ago, a gentleman was found climbing up on the roof in the Kingston prisons in the back to Vilnick to throw contraband into the prisons. And it's a serious scourge that we're facing, and it's hard to mitigate. It's very hard. Inmates are in prisons with cell phones. I know you as a mother, a sister, a brother, you would glad for an opportunity to speak with your loved one who is in the prison, and vice versa. But knowing that your son is in prisons and he's in possession of a cell phone that he should not have in the first place, and you are facilitating him by way of putting credit on the phone, you're an accomplice to a crime. And if caught, you will join him or her. So I'm appealing to the general public. I'll take this opportunity at this forum, your platform, to appeal to the general public. Please do not desist from engaging in the practice of trying to introduce contraband, illegal articles into the prisons. It does no good for the prisoners themselves. You're not doing them any good. It does no good for you, and it makes our job a lot harder. The time that we take to go fishing for contraband could be spent having a conversation with a young fella in there and trying to get him to turn his life around. So please, I'm begging, I'm pleading with the general public, help us by this simple act of obedience, not throwing things into the prisons, will go a long way. That should be your contribution.
Okay. Anything else you want to add? Either of you?
Not really.
I will join with the chief as well. I've seen it where persons in the general public would find different means to introduce contraband into the prison. So I would join with him and ask persons to desist from that practice. To the question of why I would have joined the prison. I came from a Christian background, and when I applied to the prison, I would have received a call for the opportunity, and it is something I jumped at. You know, I looked at the values that I would have been brought up with and saw that as an opportunity that I can make a difference, to which I still have that passion, as I said earlier. So it's something I I really look forward to.
Okay.
Okay, for me, my reasons for joining the prison, as my colleague said, I came up from a Christian background, and I know have love for people. I have love for people, and I have a lot to impart, and I like to see people change from whatever, and I don't just a love for people. So.
Okay. You know what I'm thinking as I'm sitting here, because of how the conversation went, maybe next time we could have a former prisoner who has turned their life around be a part of it, right? Because we know that you are putting in the work, and it's not a case where it's not showing in some of these individuals. So maybe next time we'd have to find a way to get somebody to be included on the program who has turned their life around, right?
That
So
would be nice.
put a nice positive spin on this discussion.
Yes, that would be nice. That would be nice.
Okay.
It's after 9 o'clock, so we've come to the end of our interview. But I just want to get this question in before we go. What is the difference between the Belle Isle Correctional Facility and His Majesty's Prison in Kingstown?
Well, both of them are His Majesty's prisons, but we kind of named Belle Isle as Belle Isle Correctional Facility to take the edge, to offer a softer side. The word correctional in itself, versus prison, So both of them are His Majesty's prisons until the legislation, until we get rid of the King as our head of state. Yes, it shall remain His Majesty's prison. But both of them are His Majesty's prisons. Just to know which facility we say Belle Isle Correctional and His Majesty's prisons.
So it's not where you have, like you described the different types of prisoners. It's not a case where this specific type would stay here and this specific type would stay here.
Well, Belle Isle House penal prisoners. Belle Isle House persons who are doing time. The persons on remand and so on. And another thing, while I'm here, permit me to use your forum again. We have far too many people with mental issues incarcerated as well. Far too many. So they are housed in Kingston as well. Right? So generally, Belle Isle population is way larger than Kingston's population.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
That's another thing we would have to touch on another time.
It's now 9:04 and we have come to the end of our Cup Chat discussion here this morning. We were speaking on the topic Beyond Bars, understanding the role and impact of the SVG prison service. In studio, we had Mrs. Asta McDowell, who is a female prison officer, Mr. Geraldo Durant, a senior prison officer, and Mr. Saville Rodriguez, the chief prison officer. Thank you, lady and the gentlemen, for joining us, and all the best in the job that you do daily.
Thank you.
We are now going to head